Welcome back for another episode of the Sports Playbook, where I'll give you a breakdown of what's been happening in the world of sport over the last 7 days. You're joined by your host, Dmoz. Once again, there's been a lot happening in the world of sport, so the clock's ticking. You know the drill. Let's get right into it. In athletics, Gout Gout has set a new Australian record for the 200 metres. The 17-year-old improved his 200 metre time to 20.02 seconds at the Golden Spike meet in the Czech Republic on the 26th of June. He beat the rest of the field by 0.17 seconds. In the AFL, the Fremantle Dockers make it 6 wins in a row. The Dockers beat St Kilda in a 12-point thriller at Optus Stadium. Trailing in the early stages of the final quarter, the Dockers flicked the switch and were able to turn things on. The game very much came down to the final clearance, where the ball fell the way of the Fremantle Dockers and they were able to get a goal just after the buzzer. The win now puts the Dockers at 10 wins and 5 losses for the season, and they now found their way into the top 8 and are sitting in 6th position. In some of the other games, the Western Bulldogs pipped the Sydney Swans by 9 points in Marcus Bontempelli's 250th match. It's the same story though, unfortunately, for the Sydney Swans. From set shots, they had 4 goals and 10 behind, with their season literally hanging on by a thread. In marathon news, Sifan Hassan has signed on for the very first Sydney Major Marathon. The Dutch athlete who claimed the 2024 Paris Olympic gold medal for the marathon is coming down under and racing in Sydney at the World Major Marathon on August the 31st. Hassan will be running across the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and it's the first time the event will be held as a World Marathon Major. Hassan has also won gold in the Tokyo 2020 Olympics for the 5,000 metre and the 10,000 metre athletics events respectively. In surfing, Molly Picklum wins the Rio Pro and is now first in the world rankings. Picklum got her first victory of the season in Brazil, which now rockets her to the top position in the World Surfing League standings. Picklum faced off against local Luan Silva in the final. Picklum's first wave scored her a 6.83 before scoring a 8.17, which was the highest score for the women's event in Brazil. Molly's final total came to a 15, which was also the highest score at the women's event in Brazil. The next event is J-Bay in South Africa, starting from July 11th. In the NRL, the Panthers win the game of the season against the top of the table Bulldogs. With their origin stars returning, it was a battle of the heavyweights on Thursday night's game in round 17. It was a low-scoring affair though. Jacob Preston from the Bulldogs scored their first and only try during the first half. But midway through the second half, the Prince of Penrith, Nathan Cleary, charged down a Matt Burton kick, deep in Bulldogs territory. Cleary jumped on the ball and scored the all-important try to give the Panthers the lead 8-6. The game came down to the final play, with Stephen Crichton having an opportunity to set up Montoya in the corner, but unfortunately the ball went over the sideline and that was the game. Panthers win 8-6. In round 12, the Panthers were sitting dead last in the competition. They have now found their way into the top 8. In other games, the Raiders beat the Knights 22-18, and because the Bulldogs had an upset, the Raiders are now your new competition leaders in the NRL. The Dolphins also rolled the Rabbitohs 50-28, thanks to 4 tries scored by the Hammer, Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow. In football, the Matildas win on Joe Montemurro's debut as coach. On Thursday night, in front of a home crowd in Perth, the Matildas beat Slovenia 3-0. Hayley Rasso, on her return for the Matildas, also picked up a goal, but Holly McNamara, the Matildas forward, scored her very first goal for the Matildas in the matchup. In the second friendly against Slovenia, the Matildas drew 1-1, with the only goal coming through Michelle Heyman in the 50th minute, but Slovenia scored with 1 minute to go in extra time. Also in football, it has a new home in Australia through Stan Sport. From the 1st of August, Nine's streaming service, Stan Sport, will pick up the broadcast rights for the English Premier League, replacing Optus Sport. After 9 years, Optus Sport will no longer exist. The agreement for Stan Sport also includes the FA Cup games, Japan J-League National Games, and the US National Women's Soccer League games. In cricket, Australia defeat the West Indies in the first of 3 tests. Australia chose to bat first and only managed to score 180 thanks to the West Indian fast bowlers. But steady knocks from Usman Khawaja with 47 and Travis Head with 59 were able to settle the innings for the Australians. The West Indies were only able to manage 190 runs, but Mitch Starc was the best of the Australian bowlers, 3 for 65. Australia went back into bat, and off the back of 3 half-centuries, with Travis Head with 61, Bo Webster with 63, and Alex Carey with 65, were able to set a total of 310. With the West Indies chasing 301 runs for the victory, Josh Hazlewood ripped through the West Indies batting lineup. Josh Hazlewood finished with the best figures for the Australians, 5 for 43 in his 13th 5-wicket haul performance. The second test begins on the 4th of July. In netball, the Melbourne Mavericks topple the ladder-leading New South Wales Swifts. The Mavericks, who have nothing to lose and are unable to make the finals, defeated the New South Wales Swifts 68-64 at home. It was one of the upsets of the season and sent John Cain Arena into raptures. In other games, the West Coast Fever won their 9th game in a row, defeating the Lightning by 15 points, 69-54, and they are now the new leaders of the Suncorp Super Netball. The Thunderbirds defeated the Melbourne Mavericks in a top 4 clash, 56-53, but in the other game, the Giants defeated the Queensland Firebirds to win their 4th game of the year, 68-63. And with that, we will take a short break, and after, get into your burning rubber breakdown. It's time for the burning rubber breakdown. Let's burn it up. In Formula 1, Lando Norris takes his 3rd win of the season at the Austrian Grand Prix. Norris was on pole and dominated qualifying on Saturday, but it was the battle with his teammate that had everyone on edge. Piastri and Norris drew level on a number of occasions that I'm sure that the McLaren pit wall would have been very nervous watching. They even came close to contact, with Piastri doing a dive bomb move down the inside, having to lock up all 4 wheels to avoid contact with Norris. The race, it wasn't without incident though. Kimi Antonelli in the Mercedes missed his braking marker and smashed into the back of Max Verstappen's Red Bull. They were both out of the race. With Max Verstappen being out of the race, it was a huge loss of points for the championship, but he also lost his record of 31 races with point scoring finishes. Oscar Piastri was also in the wars with Franco Colapinto. Colapinto apparently didn't see Oscar Piastri and forced him onto the grass in a move that could have ended the race for the Australian. Colapinto picked up a 5-second penalty for forcing Oscar onto the grass. In TA2 racing, Alice Buckley becomes the first female to win in the category's history. The 17-year-old from Queensland won in her 2nd race in the category. For those that don't know what this motorsport category is, it's very much like muscle cars. They have V8 powered engines as well, but all the engines are the same across the whole unit, which ensures parity and it keeps the cost down, which is vital to keeping races in motorsport. The aerodynamics are very low on these cars, which means the driver's skills are all on show. Against seasoned racers, Buckley put them all to shame, winning the first race and then the next day backing it up with a pole position and then winning her 2nd race, meaning she took out round 4 of that championship. Buckley also has a mentor through former V8 Supercars driver Tim Slade. Buckley is a name to watch as she rises up through the motorsport categories. That is your burning rubber breakdown for the week. And now it's time to get into your fast fact for a pub chat. It's time to pull yourself a chair and pour yourself a drink. It's this week's fast fact for a pub chat. And I thought, because Formula One is going back to its home at the British Grand Prix, this week's fast fact can be about Lewis Hamilton. Did you know, at the British Grand Prix, since 2014, Lewis Hamilton has stood on the podium in every single year. During this period of time, Lewis has won 8 British Grand Prix. He won a 9th British Grand Prix in 2008. He is by far and away the most successful driver in the British Grand Prix history. So, can Lewis repeat his success at this weekend's British Grand Prix? That is this week's fast fact for a pub chat. And now, it's time to get into your playbook planner. Here are some sports to look forward to this weekend. In rugby union, the Queensland Reds will take on the British and Irish Lions on Wednesday, the 2nd of July at 7:45pm. You can catch it on Stan Sport. In rugby league, it's the NRLW season opener. It's the Cronulla Sharks taking on the Parramatta Eels on Thursday, the 3rd of July at 7:45pm. You can catch this game on Channel 9, KO or Foxtel. In rugby league, it's a double header. In the NRLW, it's the Bulldogs taking on the Knights on Friday, the 4th of July at 5:30pm. For the Bulldogs, this is the first time they are entering the NRLW, so it'll be the debut for the Bulldogs in the competition. And right after, in the NRL, the Bulldogs will take on the Broncos at 8pm. You can catch the game on Channel 9, KO or Foxtel. In football, the Matildas are back. They'll be taking on Panama on Saturday, the 5th of July at 4:30pm. You can catch this on Paramount Plus. In netball, the New South Wales Swifts will look to bounce back this week against the Sunshine Coast Lightning on Saturday, the 5th of July at 5pm. You can catch this on Foxtel, KO or Binge. In the AFL, it's the Brisbane Lions taking on Port Adelaide. It's on Saturday, the 5th of July at 7:35pm, and you can catch it only on KO and Foxtel. In the NRLW, it's the Roosters taking on the Warriors. The Warriors are back after taking a period of time out of the NRLW. It's on Sunday, the 6th of July at 11:50am. You can catch it only on KO and Foxtel. And finally, in rugby union, it's the Wallabies taking on Fiji on Sunday, the 6th of July at 3pm. You can catch the game on 9Now. And with that, we have come to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next play.